big man stood in front of me. He was such a sharp contrast to Jen. Jen was always so still and withdrawn, I wondered if she was alive. This man's chest bounced up and down in a frighteningly fast rhythm, a war drum. He shook ferociously and his breath came out so thick I could almost see it. The heat of the room soon had sweat sliding down my back. I was scared, but wrath trampled my fear. I'd traveled the world with Jen. She was my friend. So for the second time in my life, I threw a punch. My fist struck his jaw. My knuckle grazed his thick, wet lip. I waited for his head to rise, for eye contact. I wanted this fight to be fair. I struck him again. His cheek felt like jelly, no more like pudding. Dark red blood shot from his lips. I wasn't done. "Jen, are you watching?" I cried out. "I need his gut." He howled. I smiled. "If you want a reason to live, I'll give it to you. I understand what he did to you was wrong. This is how you solve it. You face your fears!" I yelled and raised my hands in a hammer fist to slam on the back of his neck and paralyze him forever. You face your fear and crush it like a bug. The big man's hand flew into my jaw. It knocked me backward. I crashed hard. The big man leaped on me. He let me struggle. Blood dripped from his awful thin smile and his shoulders bounced in a quiet laugh. I knew there was nothing I could do to get him off me. His fist flew into my face. I saw black first, then I saw red. So much blood. So much more than what came out of him. He toyed with me. It was over. He poked, prodded, and explored me with his fingers, as I were a thing and not a person. I whimpered. He enjoyed that, of course. He snickered and his blood and sweat drizzled on my face. I could never beat him. I cried. There's no point in holding any emotion back. He adjusted his gargantuan frame on me, and I wheezed at this form of punishment. He wanted to take his time. It was so unfair. I had to let him. I got another unnerving feeling that traveled up my spine. I didn't know what he wanted to do to me. Eat me, torture me, or something worse. He shifted his weight again and crushed my chest. The gasp for breath interrupted my streams of tears. Why did I think I could beat him? I'm not that guy. He placed one meaty hand on my neck and squeezed. "Do you know why she sent me to you?" the big man asked. His grip was so strong I choked on my thoughts, so I gave him no reply. Because that's what she is. That's her nature. We hurt her. She brings you to me and I hurt you. Because I'm the worst of us. I'm the one who got to do whatever I wanted. We traveled the stars and worlds beyond ours. No pleasure was denied me. And this is what you get when that happens. She didn't tell you her part in all of this, did she? She didn't tell you what she does to us. She makes us into this. All I am is the result of getting whatever you want for 200 years. Pure hunger. And I understood. I understood what she was. And I hated her for it. But I hated him more because I found him so pathetic. That was it. He was offered whatever he wanted. He gorged himself like a suicidal pig. The world was in his palms, and he chose to put it on a plate for his fat mouth instead of feeding the hungry. He held the world, and instead of helping it, he fucked it. He only cared about his mouth and his balls, and then demanded to be pitied. His mouth was too high to touch, but his balls were on my chest, and with new resolve I slammed my fist into them. He reeled and reached for them. His malformed body rolled away and off me, and I saw my mistake. I tried to fight this thing like a man, this thing that saw the evil of the world and only thought of his next meal. I leapt up and slammed my foot into his mouth. His teeth cracking was satisfying, but I was not content. I pummeled him, alternating between strikes on any part of his body he left exposed. His precious body, the only thing that mattered to him. Some lose the right of the fair fight, of honor. Some have thrown away their humanity and should be treated as that new subhuman thing they become. I I stopped beating him when he no longer could raise his hands to defend himself, when his chest was still, and the blood pouring from his body coated us both. "Are you happy, Jen?" I asked the empty room. "The danger is defeated. You are free to live." "What did you do, Nathan?" I heard her voice behind me and spun around to see her. She didn't address the body. She stared at me with the same disinterested, glazed-over eyes she always regarded me with. "Jen, I saved you. Do you want to live now?" "No, Nathan. What did you do when you first learned we could do whatever we wanted?" "I don't. Remember, Jen? It's been a while." I pointed to the body. I smiled from ear to ear. I was genuinely happy with my victory, but I exaggerated it, hoping that Jen would feel my joy. She could relax. The danger was over. "I don't know, Jen. Probably traveled somewhere." "Why didn't you change the world, Nathan, like you asked him to?" Now Jen regards the body with a simple nod. Because there is a little of him in all of you. You are more empathetic than him, for now. But we're bound together now, Nathan. I have to obey you. You will be him." "No, I won't. It's ridiculous. Do you think you are the first good man, Nathan?" She snickered. My smile vanished. My throat was sticky. "Good man." She laughed at the concept. "Good woman. It's easy to be good when you don't have power. But you have me now. You can have whatever you want. In a way, you're blessed. Not everyone gets to see how they die. Take a look, Nathan, because in a century or two, that will be you." I did look at his revulsion, at his filth, at his loss of humanity, and I knew it was lost, but not so far away. I saw his body for what it was. Was it really so large? Inhumanly large? No. It could be like that if all I knew was lust and gluttony for a century. Yes, that could be me. My body shook in fear of my fate. His warm blood dripped down my hands. How long until I was like that, and I was squished by a self-righteous child? "This always happens?" I asked. "Yes," she answered, bored again. "It is human. Then I need to be better than human. You are what you are. No, if that is what it means to be human, then I demand to connect to something greater." She was silent, which was fine. An idea was forming. I had power over her. I would use it. "Jen, what are you?" "Something like a... No, specifically. What are you?" "Genjin-Mue is my species name." "Then Jen, I command you make me into a Genjin-Mue and make yourself my master." Jen was petrified. It was all over her face. Her eyes bulged, her face lost color, and she was screaming. No, take it back." However, her hand moved of its own accord. It rose in front of her face, her elbow extended, and she snapped. I felt the change. I felt the power. I felt the chain. A weighty, invisible link wrapped around my neck and tied me to Jen's wrist. Jen's eyes were neither bored nor dead now. They were alive and in awe. "We're bound together now," I said. "Mutually assured destruction. If I ever harm you, you now have the power to harm me." "Why, Nathan?" she asked. "I wanted to be better than him." I pointed to the body. The puddle of blood was still. "Are we to stay together forever?" "No, do you still want to die?" I asked. "No, well, maybe. This is unprecedented. I am confused. There are horrors even worse than him. I don't know if this life is worth it. You think it is worth it?" "Yes. I think a lot of good could happen in between the horrors. May I make a request of you?" "Yes, but I might make the same as you," she said. "Go and do what you think is best every day for a year. Even if you think it's scary or strange, do what you think is good. No one controls you now. This is about how you want to leave your mark on the world. Abandon your beliefs about life. They aren't working for you if you're ready to end your life anyway. For a year, pretend you know nothing. Go attack life with a blank slate. If by the end of the year, you still want to die, Then merely let me know where your grave will be, and I'll put flowers there every year. Frogs. A frog. No frogs. I want frogs there instead of flowers, like a little habitat. They can come and go as they please, but I want my grave to be a home for them. I've always liked frogs. Deal.